What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday and welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS live stream. I am your host, James Grande. I am joined by the Scott Proctor of MLB DFS live stream coverage. You're never going to live that one down. I'm sorry. Right now, as a Yankees fan, I miss Scott Proctor because I miss good bullpen arms. It is Keith Eister. You can follow Keith over on Twitter at EYS819DFS. Keith, what's going on, brother?
Not too much. Happy Monday. That you're really trying to make that nickname stick, but I'm here for it. I'm okay with being Scott Proctor. Very, very long, successful career, so I can get on board with that.
Yeah, and you know what? Was actually used like 100+ games by Joe Torre multiple times. like insane amount of usage that you would never see out of a relief pitcher these days. But shout out to long live Scott Proctor and all the pitchers like him that no longer exist, right?
It's been a minute. Well rested today. So
well rested today. It's a good thing because we got 9 games, possibly 8. There is one weather game that we'll get into. Miami and Pittsburgh looking a little shaky, which is probably not what you want when you're Yuri Perez making your return from a 1.5-year layoff. Did you see the tweet today from Cespedes Baseball, great Twitter follow, that he is the youngest starting pitcher in Major League Baseball this year?
That's incredible. This is a guy who made his debut in 23 years ago, and then missed all last season with an arm injury. So came up as a 20-year-old, I believe. So makes sense, but that is incredible that you can have a complete arm surgery where you miss a full season and you're still the youngest pitcher in baseball. That's incredible.
Yeah. So we'll see if that game plays, but doesn't look great. It's unfortunate because the Yuri Perez price tag and matchup is elite. We do have 9 games for all those trickling in. We do go position by position. Before we do, please hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel if you'd be so kind. Turn the notification bell on. We go live Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. We go about an hour, depending on the slate size. This will probably be an hour. And we do also record a pre-show just to get our initial thoughts out there the night before. And that's Monday through Friday as well. So without further ado, Keith, you ready to jump into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Before we go, M, solid name, just M. Lock the fudge in, because I know that F stands for fudge. Coach Chris was checking us this morning in the YouTube comments saying that no, idiots, Mark McGwire hit 70 home runs, not 71. Or John said 73. I was like, no, I think that was Bonds. And then I said, McGwire hit 71. So we were both wrong. But Coach Chris said, no, idiots. Po Dijon, I'm assuming that's Barger. Yesterday, -3.5. Yeah, Barger. There you go. Next comment is literally Barger. I see through you in the chat. Hello, all. Good luck tonight. Good luck to you. I see through you. And then Boston, Roman Anthony is up. Roman Anthony not in the player pool. Unless DraftKings has recently did an update. Not that I have seen. I keep refreshing, and I don't think we're going to get him this close to roster lock. So if we're playing on DraftKings tonight, we'll have to wait at least one more day for the Roman Anthony era to begin. Richard says Grande time. Yep, Keith isn't here. He's not doing the show with me. It's just just let's go. Let's get into pitcher. We got. We'll just cut it off at the top 2. I think there's a clear answer, and I'm assuming you think there's a clear answer because one of the other answers facing the Cubs. But both are getting a lot of ownership. What say you about the top 2 at pitcher today, Keith?
Yeah, I've found ownership very intriguing because obviously Chris Sale and Zach Wheeler are fantastic pitchers. They're both matchup proof. So we're going to discuss the matchups here in a second, but it really doesn't matter when you're talking about this level of pitcher. But I do think that there's a lot of intriguing stuff in the lower ranges of the salary, especially if we get to play Yuri Perez, which is looking very dicey right now.
Yes.
Spending up for two two pitchers on DraftKings is not something I typically do. I generally try to go down the salary range with my SP2. So I'm like you, I'm picking between these guys. And for that reason, I am factoring in the matchup a little bit more than I would with these elite starting pitchers. And there's like, it's not really close. Chris Sale has the better starting pitcher matchup by far. Milwaukee is a below average offense against left-handed pitching. And I'm drawing a blank now on the Cubs are one of the best out. So it's not really close in the matchup department. I think they're very comparable in skill level. They both have elite strikeout rates. They're both elite walk rates. They both have incredible leashes. There's nothing bad to say about either starting pitcher, but the matchup for Chris Sale is far superior to Zach Wheeler. So for that reason, you have to lean into the Chris Sale, I think.
Agreed. And just to clarify Anthony's comments, no, if we're talking specific Anthony's, you, Anthony, are not in the Red Sox lineup. Roman Anthony is batting fifth today. Wilyer Abreu was originally in the lineup. He has been scratched, placed on the IL, and Roman Anthony is just like, hey, guys, I'm hitting fifth tonight in my Major League debut. What's up? So you, Anthony, no. Him, Anthony, yes. So just to clarify on which Anthony is in the lineup, unless you are Roman Anthony, that would be very cool that you are watching our show before your game. But let us know in the chat if you're Roman Anthony. You know, if you're with a real Roman Anthony, please stand up. I agree. It's Chris Sale. I honestly, Keith, I thought the ownership discrepancy would be much wider for Chris Sale. And that really makes it much easier for me. Like, because they're so close in ownership, they are, and like he's cheaper and he's just slightly more owned in a much better matchup. I think that's just a no-brainer for me. When we move down the list, Nick Pivetta, incredibly tough spot. We have Merrill Kelly, we have Matt Boyd, Jose Barrios, and Dustin May round out the 8K tier. Is there anyone in that range that you're specifically looking at, or are you going down even further?
I am going down further, but there are a couple names to point out in this range. Nick Pivetta is, I think, a very good starting pitcher. He gets the Dodgers, so he's not quite in that elite tier as Wheeler and Sale. He's been awesome this season. It was a great signing by the Padres. Getting him out of Fenway Park, where his fly ball stuff really doesn't play well, moving him to San Diego was a great move. So I'm a Pivetta fan, but not the day to play him, I don't think. Merrill Kelly has been much better recently. He gets the Mariners, who have a lot of strikeouts in the lineup. There's a lot of power in the lineup, too. I'm not necessarily a Merrill Kelly backer. There was a lot of slander thrown his way early in the year in our Slack channel by yours truly. Like, he was really struggling early in the season. He's completely turned his season around since then. I don't know that there's a ton of upside here. So I get that it's a pretty decent spot for him against Seattle. I think there is strikeout upside, but I think I can get a similar score for a little bit cheaper. So I do want to shout out Merrill Kelly. He's playable, but he's catching some ownership too. I probably end up under the field on Kelly. Matthew Boyd is sitting right there under him. He's had a fantastic season. Philly is a strong lineup, but there's strikeouts in that Philly lineup as well, and no Bryce Harper as well, which is a huge deal. You take an elite bat out of that lineup. Guys like Real Muto, Edmundo Sosa, Weston Wilson all have strikeout rates at 24% or more. Even Schwarber, who, even though he's been an elite bat against lefties, still strikes out plenty. He's 27% this season. So there are strikeouts in this Phillies lineup. I think he can take some shots on Boyd.
I think you could definitely take some shots on Boyd. I mean, to your point, like, it is not a great Philly lineup, and obviously Bryce not being there makes it. I mean, Alec Boehm, Nick Castellanos, 3-4. Like, they're historically good against lefties. Hasn't necessarily been the case this year. Real Muto, better reverse splits, and Otto Kemp is making his second start of the year, so his second career game. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some intrigue to Matt Boyd. I wrote at fantasyland.com today. I actually wrote up Dustin May. He's not my favorite arm, but San Diego, this is something that we've kind of been talking about a lot. They look lost at the plate. Jackson Merrill's not hitting. I mean, literally outside of Manny Machado, I don't, and like Gavin Sheets occasionally, there's not a lot to like about San Diego right now. Over the last month, San Diego's 24th in OPS against right-handed pitching. Dustin May, all the peripherals, Sierra, xFIP, massive ground ball rate, the strikeout rate's on the rise for Dustin May. Like all that stuff looks really good against kind of a struggling San Diego offense. The only thing I'd say is like him versus Matt Boyd. If you were to say like, give me the pitcher, no odds, just who strikes more people out, I would probably side with Boyd than I would Dustin May, because even though the Padres struggle, they don't strike out a lot. But like, I think I would say I might trust May a little bit on the damage, like less damage department than I would Matt Boyd. But obviously strikeouts are king. So I did write up Dustin May. I don't know if that piques your interest at all today.
It absolutely does pique my interest. And it's especially because the strikeout, I know it's not the greatest strikeout matchup, but May's strikeouts have been up here recently.
Yep.
He's had at least 5 in his last 4 starts. 2 of those were over 8. So like this is a guy who had near a 30% strikeout rate at one point in the major leagues. He obviously has dealt with many injuries since that time, but that pitcher might still be in there somewhere. So I'm incredibly intrigued by the upside of Dustin May. He still throws really hard.
Yep.
He's throwing a slider or a sweeper a lot more this season, which is the best strikeout pitch that a pitcher can possess. So I'm intrigued by Dustin May. He's actually someone I've noticed take a step forward over the past couple, 3-4 starts and have been monitoring. So people are scared of San Diego. I think you can get a pretty low ownership number on him. And like you said, San Diego outside of Manny Machado has really been struggling lately. So I'm fully on board with this call. I want to be well over the field on Dustin May.
The field is getting to some names below. And there's a lot of question marks, I think, with the names below. But we'll just go through them. The 3 guys that are getting pretty hefty ownership: Yusei Kikuchi, Luis L. Ortiz, Jeffrey Springs. Those 3 are getting a sizable amount of ownership each. How would you assess those 3 pitchers tonight?
So I'll start with Kikuchi because he's the one that I just don't have any interest in. First of all, he has a home run problem and faces the Athletics, who are an incredibly powerful offense. Also, his strikeouts have disappeared this season. So
yes,
I'm not interested in Kikuchi. I will let the field play him. I will have 0 Yusei Kikuchi. The other 2 I do have a ton of interest in. Luis Ortiz is really good against right-handed hitters and has been for a couple of years, especially this season, though. I'm showing the highest owned of these 3, which makes sense to me because he has the best matchup. Cincinnati, you take them out of their very hitter-friendly home park. Not the Angels they're playing Cleveland, or in Cleveland, which is a much better pitcher's park than the Great American Ballpark, where the Reds' home field is. Ortiz has some strikeout ability, and I'm just not scared of the Reds. So I can get on board even at ownership with Luis Ortiz. And then Jeffrey Springs, if you just look at home road splits, and it's not something that I do very often, but when you have a unique home ballpark, it is something that I factor in. And Jeffrey Springs has absolutely been torched at home, and he's been a pretty solid starting pitcher on the road. He's formerly had a lot of success in the major leagues. The numbers don't look great this year, coming back from a significant arm injury. But this is a pitcher that we've paid upwards of $8,500 for on DraftKings before, when he was with the Rays and really dealing with them. He looked fantastic in his last start. $6,800 for a pitcher that I believe is more talented than that, even if he finds himself in tough spots in his home park often. The Angels have a good home run park as well, so there is some risk here, but I think there's strikeout upside. Look at this Angels lineup. There are a ton of strikeouts in the Angels lineup. They strike out at the highest rate in the league. So Jeffrey Springs is a guy that I want to heavily target.
I'm very split in this one because I actually like the Angels quite a bit.
I don't think you're wrong there, because they're going to hit some home runs.
Yes.
Like they're a very powerful lineup.
Yeah. Over the last month, they're second in ISO. And over that span, they also have a 26% strikeout rate, which is, like, to your point, it's the second highest in the league. And home or road, Jeffrey Springs has been bad against righties specifically. And the Angels, the one thing we've been saying all year, the Angels and the Astros are like two teams where I'm just like, they don't have lefties in their lineup. Like Shanuel is going to be the only lefty in the Angels lineup tonight. They haven't come out with their lineup yet, but like I guarantee when you look at it, it's going to just say Nolan Shanuel and 8 righties, right? It's going to just be, and there's 3 guys in that lineup with a 300 ISO or better: Zach Neto, Taylor Ward, Logan O'Hoppe. So I look at it where, 10 of his 11 home runs have come against righties. Yes, he obviously has pitched terribly at home, but like you look at some of the expected numbers, a lot of it's bad on the road too. He's just on the road. He's not always pitching in a minor league park, but like there are some indicators that he's just hasn't been the same post Tommy John that he was pre Tommy John. But I do understand it because I like targeting the Angels because they're strikeouts like in their lineup everywhere you look. So it's a tough one for me because I think the Angels are always 1 inning away from hitting 4 home runs and breaking a slate. And they're also a lineup that you lose with because they've struck out 13 times against an opposing staff. And you're like, oh, right, it's the Angels.
Like if you're making more than one lineup, this is the perfect game to play both sides of.
Yes.
Just to your point, you mentioned the 3 guys who have incredible ISOs. Neto has a 38% strikeout rate against lefties this season. Ward has a 41% strikeout rate against lefties. O'Hoppe has a 28% strikeout rate. So it is their home run or bust. And when they bust, that's very good for the pitcher you're throwing against them.
And it's like we're fully aware of both sides.
Yep.
It's just which shows up. Because it is a good environment for hitting. It is a good ballpark to hit home runs in. But Jeffrey Springs has historically missed bats. So we'll see what gives tonight. I think you can attack it from both angles. I do like Luis Ortiz quite a bit. He has looked like a complete different pitcher in Cleveland than he did against Pittsburgh. Does still have a little bit of a lefty problem, and that obviously could rear its head today. There's 5 lefties in the Cincinnati lineup. They should have went more. They didn't. That's great. I love that they decided to not go like full bore lefty. And yeah, Kikuchi is another one where it could go either way. It is worth mentioning that Athletics lineup does not look as good against lefties sans Shea Langoliers now that he's been placed in the IL. I've seen places Luis Urias and Max Muncy are projected like 4 or 5. Yes, you still have to get past Jacob Wilson and Brent Rooker, and that could be Kobe and Shaq tonight if, for what it's worth, but it is just worth mentioning a little condensed expected lineup for Athletics. What would the weather have to look like for you to play Yuri? Because right now, and I know Roth wasn't doing weather this weekend. I don't know if he's back doing the weather. I do know that the weather report for Roto Grinders did not look great. And the update does not look great.
Yeah, I just refreshed the update to get that. It doesn't really say anything specifically. If you guaranteed me 5 innings of Yuri Perez, he would be my highest owned pitcher on the slate outside of the 2 studs. Like we're talking about Jeffrey Springs and Matthew Boyd and guys like that. Yuri Perez would be my highest owned pitcher in that range if the weather was good. And if I was guaranteed 5 innings. Now, it doesn't even have to be good. I don't need 7 innings out of 7K Yuri Perez because this man is a stud. The fastball velocity is all the way back. In AAA, he's averaging more than he averaged in the majors in his earlier stint in 23. The pitch count is up. The price tag is $7,000. The matchup is Pittsburgh. It's all wheels up for Yuri Perez. I love everything about this spot for him. I know it's his first start in the majors in well over a year. I don't care. He looks to be the same guy. The one thing I will say is the control has been a little bit off in his rehab, but I'm willing to deal with that against a Pittsburgh lineup that doesn't pack any power and a guy that has the type of stuff that Yuri Perez does. So if I could get 5 innings out of him, I'd be all the way in. I would have a ton of him. I am very skeptical of the weather. And I say that any type of delay, second inning, the rain comes down, they delay for 20 minutes. He's done. He's not coming back. Nope. This is a prize prospect. They are going to handle him with kid gloves. If he's delayed at all, he's not coming back out there. Returning from an injury, they just wouldn't chance it.
Yeah, he'll go throw. He'll finish his outing in the tunnel or in the batting cages, right?
Yeah,
Like he'll
in a
finish.
controlled environment where he
Yep.
doesn't have to deal with start and stopping.
Yep. Completely agree. So right now, doom and gloom in Pittsburgh for Yuri Perez, but I 100% agree. Give us 5. Give us 5. That's it. 5 innings. Give us the chance to get 5 innings. Completely agree there. All right, that does it for pitcher. Let's go to catcher, where Cal Raleigh exists in the world. He's pretty good at baseball. If you haven't heard, he's a catcher apparently, doing what he's going to do. He's going to hit 60 home runs as a catcher. Anything else you would spend up on? Baldwin, O'Hoppe, those would be 2 guys for me. Anything for you?
I do like the O'Hoppe call, even though I'm going to have a lot of Jeffrey Springs. I think especially power hunting with Angels is a great idea, and O'Hoppe was one of those 3 that you mentioned as great targets today. I like the Baldwin shout as well. Hitting second in the order is a very good spot for a catcher. Don't get many that high. He has a much better matchup than somebody like Contreras, who's also up in the order. But so I do prefer Baldwin there. Yeah, that's really it. Herrera has been outstanding, but I don't love the matchup for him against Berrios. And Carson Kelly's fallen way off. Like he's way overpriced. We knew the fall off was likely coming with Carson Kelly, but it's been hard and fast.
Oh yeah, he's been a corpse for a month.
Yep,
he's been just a full corpse. Grande, would you say we fade Philly bats?
I wouldn't say fade completely. Matt Boyd can certainly give up a home run or 2. I wouldn't stack them. I would say I wouldn't full stack them because I think Boyd is an above average starting pitcher. But if you want to hunt for home runs, that's totally fine.
Agreed. All right. Sub 4K. What do we got? Alejandro Kirk, David Fry. I think those are 2 easy answers. Sub 4K.
Yeah, both in the cleanup spot. Just talked about order spot being important. Both capable hitters against below average pitchers, I would say. Seeing Real Muto's price this low is still wild, but his numbers against lefties have been really bad for a couple of years now. So I agree. It's Kirk and Fry. I don't have a ton of interest in anyone around them.
Any punts? Connor Wong, Sullivan making his debut, but there's bad weather. I mean, this is probably you don't. If Darno cracks the lineup, he's probably the answer there.
Yeah, I could get on board with Darno, who's had some success against lefties in his career. Nothing else really standing out. I don't know much about this McIver guy for the Athletics, but he'd probably be the guy under 3K that I would look at.
Yeah, it good numbers, AAA, but it's always grain of salt with PCL players because he's 28 years old and hasn't ever.
Yeah, wasn't really a prospect, but has good numbers. So it's hard to know what you're getting for sure. But we're talking about a catcher punt, and that's the important part.
First base, we go. We just had a Braves to the. My emojis always show up late, so like I knew the moon was coming there, but like Braves to the moon, says Warren. Matt Olson is $5,000. Aaron Savali did allow a ground ball for the first time to a lefty last start. Does Aaron Savali continue to allow fly balls and home runs to lefties today?
Yeah, I think he does. He has historically allowed home runs and fly balls, not necessarily to the level that he's been doing it this year, but it's always been one of his weaknesses, I would say. So, yeah, Matt Olson looks tremendous.
What about the rest of this? I mean, not much. If you're going to play Ohtani and Freeman, you can, but obviously good pitcher, right? Like,
yeah, really tough matchup, and we have pitching that we want to spend for with Sale, especially in the high end, and Wheeler there. A lot of people are double spending. I don't think that I will, so I can get up to some of these guys. But Ohtani and Freeman are not necessarily guys that I want to get to. Same goes for Michael Busch. Like, there are plenty of elite bats at the position. I don't need to try to pick on the best pitchers of the day. So I'll leave Michael Busch on the shelf today. Aranda is a guy that I like quite a bit. Has had an awesome season. Great ballpark there. Bayo. just hasn't quite figured things out. He has some skills, some ground ball skills, but Aranda is that fly ball guy that we're looking for against ground ball guys. So I really like Aranda against Bayo.
Yeah, and he does get lefties out. That's been the Brian Bayo issue from day one. Lefty power cannot figure it out against lefties.
12.8% strikeout rate to lefties this season. That's
it's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad. I agree on Aranda. I like Josh Naylor if he's in the lineup. I don't think we've gotten a confirmed Diamondbacks lineup yet. That's I think Vladdy is too cheap. And the home runs will come. Reverse splits pitcher and Andre Piante. Anything else 4K? I think it's just like the answer is no. And then like Bohm is sub 4K. Pavin Smith is sub 4K. Abraham Toro and David Fry CES is like, what do you like? What else do you like at first?
I really like the Diamondbacks today.
Me too.
Hancock has a lefty problem as well.
Yes,
so
he does.
You mentioned two of them there. Naylor and Pavin Smith, I think, are both tremendous. Unfortunately, they both have first base only on DraftKings, which makes it more difficult. So you have to choose your fighter there. Smith is a little bit cheaper. He's further down, or likely going to be further down in the order, though, as well. So it's really a coin flip between those two for me. Both have the same matchup, obviously. Bohm is one of those guys you could certainly hunt for a home run with against Boyd. I don't mind him. David Fry, obviously, you play him at catcher, I think, first.
Yes, for sure, play him at catcher first.
Yeah. I don't really see anything else to like there. Toro's hitting third for the Red Sox, but
what a world, dude! What a world! 2025 Abraham Toro, and he's deserving of it. Just throwing it out, like he's deserving of like a good lineup spot. I mean, for whatever.
Is it going to continue? That's my. Are we buying it?
No, but I'm just saying, as of right now, he's deserving of it. I just watched him destroy the Yankees he destroyed my team for a whole weekend. He tormented me. So like, I got to pay him his due.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you certainly cannot argue with the results. I'm pulling up the StatCast stuff. It's not pretty. I kind of figured it wouldn't be.
Yeah, no.
That's what I mean. Is it going to continue? Like, I don't think he's going to hit at this level, but we're talking about one day. He's been on a tear, so he's cheap. He's in a great lineup spot. I can't argue against him, but he's not the guy that he's shown to be so far. Still,
who is Ketel Marte?
Indeed,
that guy is the guy that he's shown to be. Even though it looked like he wasn't, and then he suddenly got the power back after like a year off. Don't really need to add lefty problem. Ernie Hancock and Ketel Marte. Suddenly he's better against righties this year. He was better against lefties last year. He just decides, I'm just better at this. Whatever I want to do, I can do. Right. What about the rest of the second? Brandon Lau looks great. I don't know if there's anything else up here I'd spend up for, but what say you, Keith?
Yeah, Lau is the other one. Obviously, Marte is fantastic, the top option at the position. We love lefties, particularly against Hancock today. Lau, we like lefties against Bayo as well, so definitely like him. Hitting second there. Prices come back up, but he's been hitting well.
Yep.
I don't really like anything else above 4K here.
Agreed.
Second, generally a position I like to spend at, but I do like the top two today. Or I'd like to save at rather than spend.
Yeah. Who are your save options here?
Sosa, a guy that you can certainly always play against lefties.
Yes, for sure.
Boyd gives up some fly balls, so I don't mind taking shots on Edmundo Sosa. Let's see here. Gavin Lux hits from the correct side of the plate against Luis Ortiz. We mentioned a lefty problem for Ortiz, so certainly don't mind Lux up at the top of that Reds lineup. Baz has had his problems this season, been a little bit better recently, but Christian Campbell with his second base eligibility, I like.
Yeah, the righties too. Getting against Shane Baz, the righties are what give him fits.
Yep. Which is weird. Like Shane Baz is a guy that I cannot figure out. I had really high hopes for him this season, and just I'm not really sure what's going on with him.
He was great out of the gate.
Yeah,
elite out of the gate.
Yeah.
I'll throw a couple more. Just like Luis Arias, if you are attacking Kikuchi, he is projected to hit in a really good spot in the lineup. We had a Chris Taylor shout. I actually do think that it's a viable play. I don't know if I don't know if signs of life is like what I would classify, but like at least he's breathing.
He
You
hit a
know,
home run
like
finally. We can say that.
he did a lot of extra base hits lately. I mean, he's 2,200. He's gonna probably Soler is all but likely not going to be in the lineup. They said Soler was going for, I think, imaging today on his groin. So if that means no Soler, Chris Taylor is definitely in the lineup. 2,200. I told you, like, the Angels just hit home runs. So if Chris Taylor just suddenly shows up and hits a home run, is that a coincidence? I don't know. Like, what are they doing over there? They're just making everyone hit home runs.
Why do they? Well, the ballpark for one is very good.
Yes,
but why do
sure.
the Angels just love picking up these retreads off the scrap heap? They just picked up Lamont and Wade as well. I don't know if you saw that, but
And Scott Kingery. They have
yeah,
Scott
like
Kingery.
everybody who had some success many years ago, the Angels, if you're available, the Angels are interested.
Trevor Bauer, come on down.
Oh boy.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, everybody. I do not support that at all. Let's go to third. Yeah, shouldn't have went. It's just,
Mark Pitts in chat has a good one. Kevin Pillar from last year. Same thing. Like guys
Kevin
that just
Pillar.
disappear for 2-3 years, they reclaim them and they get a 2-week stint out of them. It's just amazing how many times they've done this.
Dude, Kevin Pillar was gonna retire. The Angels were gonna make him. They made him retire and then unretire, and then he unretired. Should have retired. Not having a good time in Texas. No one is. Third base. Jose Ramirez. Keith, did you know that Jose Ramirez is only 2 for 15 against Wade Miley in his career? Can't play him.
I disagree.
No, but that you can't disagree with facts. He's 2 for 15.
Yeah, 2 for 15. Let's see what Jose Ramirez has done in a larger sample here against lefties this season. I have no idea what it is, but I bet it's better than 2 for 15. He has a 196 ISO, 455 WOBA. Strikes out 11% of the time. Yeah, I'll play some Jose Ramirez today.
You should then for this exercise, you should look at last year too for Jose Ramirez against.
Yeah, it's even better, I bet.
It's like 2x.
Yeah, 348 ISO against
like,
last year.
It's literally like 2x the. Yeah, I mean, I tweeted it this morning. You know, for all those that still use Twitter, you could follow us both. You see our Twitter handles right there. We'll get to the Angels lineup in a second. It's an interesting one. I tweeted. I forget my tweet. I gotta go quote it so it's correct. It's okay to play Jose Ramirez against a 38-year-old Wade Miley today, even if he's 2 for 15. Everything is going to be okay, and BVP stinks. I hope this helps. So,
Fantastic.
you know, I was just kidding, everybody. I do not care that Jose Ramirez is 2 for 15 against a 38-year-old Wade Miley, who, in his debut, Keith, do you know what his fastball velocity sat at?
I do not know, so I'm going to take a guess that it was 87 miles an hour.
A little, very disrespectful. 89 miles an hour. But he threw it 54% of the time, which seems to be a bad idea when you throw 89 miles an hour.
I mean, he's going to try to sink the ball and get the ball on the ground, and he does not care about striking anyone out. So that's a recipe for him to get burned by BABIP and get into a lot of trouble.
Is Jose Ramirez the top spend at third, and is he one of the top 3 overall spends of the day?
He is the top spend at third. Devers is really good too, but I would have Ramirez slightly ahead of him.
Okay.
Top 3 of the day.
I put you on the spot.
I love Corbin Carroll. I think Cal Raleigh. It's hard to argue against him. Yeah, I think Ketel Marte is up there for sure. Yeah. I think Ellie De La Cruz is. He's top 5, and he's in the conversation for top 3 for sure.
Okay, I have him top 5, and it's not 4-3, 5-4-3 or 2. So at least he's both in our top 5. Love Ramirez today against Wade Miley.
Yeah.
Devers looks great. What about the rest of third? I think this is a really strong position for K and up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Machado is the one Padre who has been absolutely crushing the ball. Good for him. I'll play Caminero against anybody with that guy's power.
Yep.
We do prefer lefties against Bayo, but I'm on board with that. Max Muncy has rejuvenated himself here a little bit lately. Really tough matchup for him.
You know why, right? Do you know why?
Something about glasses. Is he wearing glasses now?
He had astigmatism and he got surgery on his eye, and now he's wearing glasses and he can see.
Turns out seeing the baseball is pretty important for hitting it.
Correct. 100% correct. I'll throw Riley in there against Savale. I'll throw Eugenio Suarez home run guys. Like, you can play them for home runs. I think 4K and up is loaded. Like, you can play some of this stuff like Barger, Toro, Marcelo Meyer. He's hitting 7th tonight. It's a little deceiving here, but he is hitting 7th. So you can play any of that stuff. But I think you can play Max Muncy, the other Max Muncy. He'll hit in a primo position for the A's. He's hit 2 home runs since his call up. So all that stuff is fine. I think this is a premium position. Let's go to short. Another premium position. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Actually, before we do this, Angels lineup, because we're at shortstop. Zach Nato, Shanuel, Trout, Ward, Darno hitting 5th, so no Logan O'Hoppe again. Chris Taylor hitting 6th this evening, which is much higher than I thought. Joe Adell 7th, Scott Kingery 8th, Kevin Newman 9th. So really good value for the middle of that lineup. Darno, Taylor, Adell, 5, 6, 7. And then Diamondbacks lineup, Corbin Carroll, Marte, Geraldo Perdomo. You mentioned Josh Naylor hitting higher than Pavement Smith. Josh Naylor hitting 4th, Pavement Smith hitting 7th. Eugenio Suarez 5th, Gurriel 6th, Thomas 8th, and no Gabriel Moreno again in the lineup. Herrera is hitting 9th again. So just thought I'd throw that out there. But we are at shortstop. Zach Nato is leading off. Geraldo Perdomo is hitting 3rd. There's a ton of good shortstops. Tell me who some of your favorites are.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong here. It's a loaded position. Ellie De La Cruz is in a great spot against a pitcher that's going to have a decent amount of ownership today. So I love spending up for Ellie De La Cruz today. Turner is certainly a guy we've seen has power and speed, gets the fly balls of Matt Boyd today, so he might find a home run as well. Nato is great against Springs, who's really struggled with righties, as you touched on. Can always play Mookie Betts. Jacob Wilson's been incredible. Kikuchi has a fly ball problem also.
Dude, this guy is a machine. He's a robot.
We knew the contact was going to be there. Nobody's surprised by the contact. The lack of strikeouts, like he's not going to strike out. We knew that. As a prospect, we knew that. Where did the power come from is the question that everyone has.
Sure.
Like when you get elite contact guys like that also can make like hard contact, like that's a problem. He's like becoming or is an elite player. It's awesome stuff from Jacob Wilson.
Just an aside quick, we just got a Yuri Perez update from the Marlins.
Let's hear it.
80 to 85 pitches is the ballpark that we're going to get. If obviously the weather, can withhold itself. But that is from the Marlins. 80 to 85 pitches is the expectation.
I would have had him in the 85 to 95 even range. So that's a little bit lower than I was expecting. Still playable at 7K at that price if the weather is okay. Yeah,
he threw 82 in his final rehab start. So kind of wish he was getting extended a little more.
Yeah. So I think if he's out there, like if he's sitting at 70 pitches entering the 5th inning, I think they send him back out for sure.
For sure, could be.
And without like the bullpen warmed up, like he's going to face one hitter and be yanked. I think he would at 70 pitches he would go out to start the 5th with the full inning in mind.
Agreed. I don't think they let him go 90 though.
See,
if they're coming,
I don't think 85 is a hard cap. So I'm going to include 89 as like in the range of outcomes. But I agree, more than likely they would probably like to keep him around 85.
Like if he ends an at bat at 87 pitches.
Oh, he's coming out. Yeah.
He's coming out. Like he's not getting taken out in the middle of an at bat if it's 10 pitches and it's like 92.
82 pitches with a right-handed hitter in the box. Does he face the righty?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yes.
That's why. And if it takes him 7 pitches to get through that at bat, they're fine with that.
Lefty, he's gone.
Agreed.
He doesn't pitch to the lefty. If it's O'Neal Cruz, 82 pitches, O'Neal Cruz at the plate, he's not pitching.
We agree.
Okay, under Wilson, what do we like? Or is this just a position you don't care to go down for?
There are some names. Bo Bichette is the one guy.
Agreed.
He's really come back to life. The power has shown back up. So good for him leading off for the Jays. Piante, not somebody I'm scared of whatsoever. So I think you could go there. JP Crawford is a guy that I like to play a good amount as long as he's leading off. Just a cheap leadoff hitter. Merrill Kelly has had lefty problems in the past. Even a guy like Mason Wynn, I think, is playable. Barrios is not somebody I'm afraid of. All kinds of speed from Mason Wynn. So there are some saver options at shortstop, but obviously the elite range is where you want to live primarily.
Yeah, I'd throw Otto Lopez into that value mix as well. They've hit him in the middle of their lineup the last few days, and another guy who has some good speed. So I'd throw Otto Lopez. We didn't mention Xavier Edwards, and I'm assuming it's positional, but he's getting a boatload of ownership tonight. I know he's been good. Thoughts on the super random chalk? I know Burrows hasn't been good, but
yeah, that's because of the second base eligibility, right?
That's my guess. The positional stuff, but like significantly more. Like Zach Neto's getting a lot. But Edwards is getting a lot of ownership tonight. I find that a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, I like the matchup, and we're not concerned about hitters. I don't think there's necessarily PPD risk in Pittsburgh. It's more the delay stuff for the pitchers that we're worried about. So
yes,
I'm fine with that part of it, but I certainly don't see a reason for him to be super highly owned. Give me 500 to find for Brandon Lau, and I'd much rather play that.
Right. I agree. Let's go to outfield. Finish this up with a core play that we will finish, and I'll finish the lineup and put it in the Discord. It's an example lineup, ladies and gentlemen. Example. Where do you want to start in the outfield? To me, it sounded like Corbin Carroll was the first name you wanted to talk about.
He would be my number one of 5 in the top 5. Yes. Corbin Carroll looks outstanding today. He is all the way back from whatever struggles. The power is fully there, has plenty of speed as well, and faces a guy who has really struggled with lefties. So Corbin Carroll's my top hitter on the slate.
Yeah, random just back-to-back days off for Corbin Carroll over the weekend. I don't know what that was about, but he's in there. So we, assume it was just give him an extra day, right? But that was a little strange to see for sure. Definitely good. Just quick circle back to Acuna. Any and all Brave stack looks pretty good against a fly ball pitcher. That they're obviously reeling 7 losses in a row. A couple of them just being abomination. I mean, a lot of 1-run losses. I think every loss to the Giants this weekend was a 1-run loss, and then you obviously had the Arizona loss before that, but you could play Acuna for a home run. O'Neal Cruz getting a lot of ownership. I'm not necessarily there, but I get it. Yuri Perez making his debut. You can get there. I don't have a ton of 5K and up interest. To be honest, this is one of the rare days that I think outfield is a position of a lot of good mid-tier and below. I'd play Trout in an Angel stack, but I'm high on. Am I wrong here? Is there anything else you would get really prioritize 5K and up?
No, I think you're right, and it's because the Dodgers and the Cubs are in tough matchups.
Yeah, it's true.
You can 100%. Certainly play Ohtani and Tucker or PCA, right. Teoscar Hernandez, but they're facing elite pitchers. So to pay a premium for those guys, while fantastic, it's not going to be in your first lineup, I would say. Right. If you're making a bunch, it's a great day to play them low owned, and I certainly can't argue against that because they're all fantastic, but they are tough matchups. So moving down, I think Brent Rooker is the guy that just jumps off the page to me. Yes. I love the matchup for him against Kikuchi.
Yeah. So you're saying that you like a 367 ISO and 486 WOBA against lefties?
I like that. Yes.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, I had some Corbin Carroll shouts out there. Yep, he looks great. Yeah, Mark, they did have Chris Taylor, or they did have Kevin Pillar hitting fourth, which was, that was the 2024 Angels in a nutshell, right? Kevin Pillar hitting fourth. At least now they are fun because they hit home runs and Mike Trout's playing, right? That's fun.
Yeah, I mean the home runs are fun. If a lot of people say they don't like the new home run or bust strikeout baseball, which is exactly what the Angels play, but
yes,
I don't know. I find home runs enjoyable.
Yeah, and they have a fun manager. Ron Washington's so fun to watch. He is hilarious over there, dude. Just circling back to Jordan's question, would you play Jose Barrios?
I'm not going to tell you no. I'm telling you I'm not playing him. But I get it. St. Louis is not an offense that scares me. I don't buy Barrios' upside.
They're good though. They're good. They're not it's death by 1,000 paper cut good.
Yeah, the lack of power, I think, is why he's playable.
Yes.
And Barrios will occasionally burn me with that 10 strikeout game, but it just doesn't happen enough to where I seek him out often.
I think it was 2 starts ago. He had one. It was 2 starts ago,
randomly.
Right? Yeah, the 9 Ks. He didn't have 9 Ks and 3 starts combined before that, and he's like, "Yeah, let me just strike all these guys out." Yeah, I agree. Anything else? Jeffrey Springs has been on a slump. Yeah. Should we attack Red Sox with Tampa? Should we attack Red Sox with Tampa bats? You can. We've talked about that a lot. I think as the weather concerns, yes, there's definitely a little bit of weather concerns in Pittsburgh. I don't think there's been an update unless you see it, but
nope.
Let's get back to outfield. Rooker was the last one we talked about. What say you about the rest of the outfield here, Keith?
Let's see here. Kyle Stowers has big power. Yeah. I like him. Taylor Ward, we've talked about those Angels power bats against Springs. Definitely like that. Let's see here. I don't mind Castellanos if you're hunting home runs against Boyd.
There is a lot going on in the world today. So, Nick Castellanos puts on his cape when there's something going on.
Yeah, that indeed he does. Ozuna right there as well. Love that price tag for him. I know a bit of a down season, but
and the hip. I just wonder he's not. I wonder if the homer the lack of home runs. I mean, 10 is fine. I shouldn't say lack of home runs, but the lack of consistency is a hip issue, right? Because he's obviously
he's not a young man.
Not a young man. And he's dealing with hip injury. Nick Kurtz activated today, by the way, hitting 6th for the Athletics.
Interesting. Bringing him back against the lefty.
Butler, Wilson, Rooker. So they're going with the lefty start the game. Soderstrom, Muncy hitting 5th, Kurtz 6th, Uriah 7th, McClaver 8th, and Denzel Clark hitting 9th is the Athletics lineup. Sub 4K. Jesus Sanchez. I like him as a baseball player. He's looked pretty good. But to Richard's point here, it is a very interesting thing. So one, I don't think it's necessarily that the PPD. I think they're waiting to see probably how Stowers responds to a batting practice or something. That's probably why we haven't gotten a Miami lineup, because we're within an hour of that game.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there.
I think it's Stowers. That would be my guess. Would be Stowers. How does he feel? Because it's a hand, right? Kyle Stowers, I believe he's dealing with a hand. Yeah. So I'm assuming he's going through BP. He's getting treatment. How do you feel? Can you play? Yes, no, okay. Lineup, right? That lineup probably comes out soon. There's also rain. I don't think they would necessarily not put a lineup out just because they think a game's going to get postponed. Why would they announce Yuri Perez is going to pitch 80 to 85 pitches if they thought the game was going to get postponed?
Right.
They would just be like,
yeah,
Yuri Perez isn't pitching today because
that definitely lines up more with an injury issue than a weather issue. I agree.
Yeah. What else do we like sub 4K in the outfield here?
Will Benson is a guy you can play against Luis Ortiz. You mentioned Sanchez, who I like a good amount.
Lourdes?
Gavin Sheet. What's that?
Lourdes?
Yeah. I like Diamondbacks a ton. I do prefer the lefties, but certainly Lourdes in a Diamondback stack. Gavin Sheets is fine. Mentioned Dustin May's been a little bit better recently, but I still think he's hittable. Talked about Lux at second. Angel Martinez, he's down to 9th in the order, but he gets Miley today. Don't
You
mind
see,
that.
you know why?
Why is that?
Lane Thomas back hitting second tonight.
There you go. Has had a lot of success against lefties in his career.
Only success he's had in his career. Him and David Fry on the same team is a wild time because they only hit lefties.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I'm intrigued.
I like Lane at 3K. I know he's been bad when he's been in this year, but 3K hitting second, they waste no time. Would you play Joe Adell?
Sure.
If you're stacking Angels, would you play Joe Adell? I know you're not one-offing Joe Adell.
Well, I think you can because of the power.
Yeah, I guess double dong. Yeah, he's had a couple double dongs this year.
Yeah. So he probably strikes out at least twice, but if he hits 2 home runs with that, then you're fine with it.
Dude, that is like so range of outcome for Joe Adell. I wonder what his two he's had 3 double dong games this year. Because he had the one earlier in the year against Littell. No, he hasn't. You know what? All these double down games, he's only struck out once in those 3 games. Salute to Joe Adell for maybe figuring out. I'm a fan of the Angels today, so you're not going to hear me say anything poor. Anything else that's worth mentioning? Probably not.
No, nothing that's super exciting. We talked about Chris Taylor at second. We talked about Alec Thomas is another Diamondbacks lefty in a stack only for me there.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I said he was in the lineup, right? Hitting 8th. Yeah, hitting 8th tonight, playing center field. All right, let's get a core built. I think we'll just go Chris Sale. That was an easy plug for both of us. We'll leave the SB2 to the Discord. We'll leave that for the folks that join the Fantasy Alarm Discord.
You wouldn't let me plug in Jeffrey Springs. I know. I am high on Jeffrey Springs. There's lots of home run risk for him, but I do like that 8K range as well. I think Kelly is fine. Matt Boyd is a guy I have a bunch of as well.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to do this. This is going to be our core because I proclaimed J-Ram as my top bat and you proclaimed Corby. So best of both worlds. We're going to get both of them in our core. I think it's possible. I think it's possible today because I think there's a lot of good value.
Yep, absolutely.
Speaking of value, who would be your core value options of the day? Is it just as easy as plugging David Fry in at catcher? Because that's or d'Arnaud and playing them both. David Fry at catcher seems kind of unfair because he's not a catcher.
Right. He's a DH really. David Fry would be my pick there. Yep.
Okay. And we'll give, we'll leave it right there. We'll leave the people wanting more unless you had one more you have to plug tonight.
I don't have one more that you have to plug in. No. Nope. I don't think.
Okay.
No. I mean, Chris Taylor, maybe just as cheap as he is in his positional eligibility, I think is a value play I'll have a ton of. I wouldn't call him a core play though.
Okay. Well, he's 2,200. He lets you do a lot. We'll put him here because I assume we're gonna build and probably end up using him.
Yeah, I mean, with that start, then you can pretty much play whatever you want throughout the rest. So, yeah,
whatever you want. And Power says Nick Kurtz is back. Is that a coincidence? Power is the one that is saying Nick Kurtz is back. So Nick Kurtz is known for, baby. Power. Yeah, thank you, Power. Hitting 6 tonight. Good lineup spot. Folks, again, we will be building the rest of this lineup and posting it in the Fantasy Slam Discord. You can find it in the base of this show. Salute to everyone for tuning in. Salute to Keith for filling in as well. We'll be back with the pre-show tonight. We'll be back with the live stream tomorrow. And before we go, I have to actually find the outro music to do it, or else we can't leave. For Keith, I'm James. We'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.